Cancer, 16 rounds of chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, feeling alone, feeling isolated. Those are the things that I felt while I was going through cancer. Those are the things that someone is feeling today. One Tough Cookie is here to help.
Welcome to Focus on You with Phil and Oscar.
What's happening?
What's up, Oscar?
Oh, man.
How's it hanging?
One-legged man trying to kick down a door in a windstorm. I'm doing a million things all at once. Not enough hours in a day.
Hey, not enough. This is why you're my twin, okay?
Yeah.
We never stop going. I think the only thing that go ahead.
Yeah, it's just nonstop. I feel like I'm fading away.
Oh my goodness, man! No,
there we go.
You are fading away. Look at you! You're coming back too. Nice.
I'm back now.
All right, and to our Focus on You family, hello. We are back, and we have again a very special guest for you. She's been here before, but we're going to focus in on some of the amazing things that she does for writers, for companies, for whomever, whatever. It's just she brings your business into a totally different light and helps you to focus in on the message that you want to put out there for your business. So none other than Lynn, who is our copyright person for the Phoenix National Network. She's a partner here, and we love her very much. Amazing person. So she's going to be coming up. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing here on the Phoenix National Network, because there's some amazing things we want to feature. What would one of those things be? Let me see. Oscar, what do you think?
I think it should be all about me.
Oh, well, okay. So if you'd like to see Oscar, you could go download the Phoenix National Network app. And if you download the app, you'll be able to see him on there and his information as well. You'll be able to find our guests and much more other talents that can help you build and grow your business. Also, if you're searching for our new platforms that are on the new audio platforms that we have developed, all you have to do is look for the PNN station on what's it? Where are we on? Spotify.
What aren't we on?
Apple Podcasts. Yeah, I mean, for beginnings, it's more like, Google Podcasts. We're on so many platforms that I think I've stopped counting. So, this is for your benefit. We want you to be able to not just find us, be able to get some good information. If you're seeking to start your dream and build a business or whatever your goals are, sometimes the point of this is sometimes we don't know where to start. And we're trying to help you find your starting point. Okay, this is why we have these magnificent guests on. And that's the purpose of our show, Focus on You, because we're focusing the light on you and our guests and how they can benefit your life and your community. So with all of that being said, let's welcome our guest, then Lynn, the writing professional, the
Hi,
amazing,
Phil.
the most wonderful.
Hi, Oscar. Hi, Phil. Thanks for having me
What's
on
going
today.
on? How you doing, Lynn?
Welcome.
And this is my writing assistant, Hemingway. Oh, where'd he go? He's on the other side. So you'll see him come in and out of the video. Here he is.
There we go.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, he looks
He's-
like my lunatic.
Hemingway.
He's not that great at grammar checking, but he's nice company. He's a little
So you
sketchy on
named
the
your
writing
cat
part.
after a writer.
But he's perfect at what he does.
He is
Sorry.
perfect. And he likes to be on video.
Welcome back to Focus on You, Lynn.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
So we need to continue
We're happy
from
that
where
you're
we
here
left off
too.
last week, or
Well,
you're on delay. I'm sorry.
a few weeks ago. It's a few weeks ago.
You want to give a quick intro so we can get it going with what we want to talk about this week. Who you are, what you did, how you got to where you are, and then we'll go into the what we have planned for today.
Yeah, I'd love to. So my name is Lynn Elikqitie, and I am a podcast producer, author, writer, ghostwriter. And I got into writing 5 years ago when I left my teaching job and decided I need to do something a little less stressful than teaching 213-year-old science and coding all day. And so I decided to get into writing, and I originally got into travel writing, but when the pandemic hit, I had to pivot and I got more into SEO writing. And then, and recently I more focus on ghostwriting. So people with ideas for books or people that have a book half written or partly written, and I help them finish and publish their book. And so I also still do content writing because that's all a part of the game. And my favorite and ideal clients are people who need help with like their blogs and their newsletters, all the way up to helping them with writing a book and publishing and helping them being seen online as an expert in their niche.
Got it. That's Lynn in a nutshell.
That's Lynn in a nutshell. So basically, let me break this down. So basically, what you do is you help people define their ideas and put it into words, per se.
Yeah, a lot of times my clients will come to me and they'll say like, hey, they'll say, oh, I have this idea for a blog, or like, I want to write about these blogs. And a lot of times their blog content, like their topics, like their idea is good, but their topics don't work very well for SEO. So I help people to like take their idea and focus it on whatever platform they want to do. Like if it's a newsletter or if it's a blog, because all of those platforms you do need to write, but they're all just a little bit different in how you write them. And so like, you're not going to write the same way for a blog as you are when you're writing in a book, because a book's going to be more storytelling format and a blog is going to be more geared towards SEO and keywords. And so you need to definitely know how to change those types of content depending on what you're writing, what you're writing for specifically, like an editorial, an article, a blog, a newsletter, or a book. And so that's one of the things I help my clients distinguish is they come to me with an idea and they're like, I want to do this, this, and this. I help them take their idea and really hone it in on what to do and how to get the most coverage basically for their content by adding the keywords and doing all those things and consistent publishing and things like that, because a lot of people don't know about like, hey, you can do a blog, but I see a lot of people do like they do 3 blogs one week and then they don't do anything for 6 months. I'm like, no, you need to space it out so that you're consistent. Even if it's like 1 blog a month, you want to stay consistent with that timing. And so I help people with a lot of those types of aspects of things.
How does that fit in with your VIP day?
Oh yeah, great question. Thank you, Oscar. So my VIP day is where I sit down with someone for 4 hours. And then there's also some follow-up support as well. And we literally sit down and plan a whole entire year of their marketing. So we plan their content pillars, which is the topics that they're going to talk about each month, based on what is trending during that month for their niche or their vertical. So if someone is a speaker and they're like and they speak on the topic of like they're a motivational speaker. So depending on what their niche is in motivational speaking, I would look that up on my keyword research tool, and then we would find out what are the topics that are trending, and not only what are the topics of the trending, but what are the times of the year they're trending the most. So not only can we get that SEO content with the right keywords, but actually post it at the best time of the year that's going to be the most effective for their SEO. So it's really all about, planning ahead and getting all that done. And so that's something that I offer my client, anybody that comes to me that is looking for that help, because a lot of people know they need to do marketing, but they don't know how to approach it from a strategic standpoint and backward design it, which is what I do for them, which gets you the best value for your time and money for your marketing dollars.
So do you suggest that they go to writeforyou.me and ask for the free book and then get to you and say, okay, now that I've got a little bit of knowing of what I want to do, this is where you can help me? Or would it better for them to just talk to you directly and then go for the free book?
Yeah. So I think the book that I have a couple different books on there. One is for podcast show notes. And then I can't remember the other one I have on there, because I have seven different ebooks right now. And I'm in the process of redesigning my website. But if they want to get a hold of me, especially for VIP Day, the best thing to do is to go to my website, is writeforyou.me, and then click on the discovery call link and to see if we're a good fit to work together.
Excellent. That's all the questions I have for today.
Awesome. I'll see you guys later.
What's another good question?
That's so cool. That is so cool, Lynn. But there's something that you do. There's something that we do when somebody has the idea for a book, right? I've heard so say, I want to write a book. I want to write a book. Man, I should write a book. My life should be a book, right? How many times have you heard that? That's like almost a million times. I don't think I've gone through a day where somebody said, my life should be a book, right? How do we get from point A to point B to point C with that?
So one of the things I wanted to start off with is, if you are thinking about writing a book, a lot of people don't feel like maybe their story isn't interesting enough or something to that effect, but you would be surprised. Like, we each have our own individual stories, and there's always something interesting about each one of our stories that we don't think is interesting that other people do. And we usually don't think it's interesting because we think, oh, our story is not good enough. And that's like the whole imposter syndrome. And I can tell you right now, the biggest challenge for people to write a book is to get past themselves. Like, a lot of people just can't get past their own doubts and fears of themselves to write and publish a book. And so you need to get past that first, that's for sure. And then, like, once you get past that, then you can start writing your book. But 80% of people who want to write a book never even start writing it. And the 20% that do start writing it, only a very small fraction finish writing it. And a very small fraction of those people who actually finish writing their book actually publish their book. So that's why, if you are a published author, it puts you in a very, very niche, like, leadership category, which is excellent if you're trying to position yourself as an expert, because then you are at that top, like, 1 or 2% of people who actually followed all the way through and published a book.
So my book is going to be titled "How I Overcame My Reluctance to Writing a Book."
I love it.
Yeah, I don't think my book has a title yet. I'm working on getting a title. Like, what is it like to work with Oscar on our Wednesday night at noon shows? I'm going to write a book about that. That's a very interesting subject, very catchy. I've aged 100 years, and I still look the same today as when I started. So
mine's going to be my top 10 best things in life, and then I could actually be a pamphlet. Actually, you don't need to be an entire book. I can do a threefold. Just fit it all in there.
Pamphlet. Oh, that's another really cool fun fact that a lot of people don't know, is that if you want to publish a book on Amazon, you only need 2,500 words, which is basically like a really long blog. So yeah, you can write a small book that's 2,500 words and publish it on Amazon if you want to get your feet wet in the self-publishing realm.
See, I accidentally stepped into that one.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, fill in those gaps.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so to publish a book on Amazon, you only need 2,500 words to publish a book, and so that's super easy. However, the only downside to publishing a book, there's a couple downsides, but if you want to just jump in and see what the publishing process is like, that's a really great way to do it. But the thing is if you write a book that small, usually the minimum you're allowed to charge on Amazon is $1.99 for an ebook. So you can't charge less than $1.99. And the other thing is that it's not going to have a spine if it's 2,500 words. So the spine, if you're not familiar with that, is like the side of the book that has the name on it. So in order to have a spine, you need to have 100 pages of printed copy. Now, that doesn't have to be 100 pages of words. You can have some workbook sections at the end of each chapter, or a review, or however you want to do it. So you can add some participant, activities in your book. So it doesn't have to be all words if you want to do 100 pages. So that's another thing to keep in mind too. And you can always do like a series of small books. So if you wanted to do like a 10,000, like 4 10,000 word books, you can do that and then put them out on a regular basis. So that's another option to do when you're publishing. But there's so many options to publish. It just depends on like what your goals are, why you're publishing, and what's the purpose of your publishing. If it's just to like, hey, I want to check off my bucket list item of writing a book and publishing it, then I would say go for the typical 40,000 word, 200 page book. Do a really great job. Make sure you get a professional editor. Make sure you have professional formatting, because those two things will definitely make your book look really bad or really good, depending on if you get those two things or not, a professional editor and professional formatting on your book. So, but if you're just doing a bucket list item, I would say just go for the 40,000 word, typical 200 page book. Make sure your cover is really nice, and self-publish it and check it off your list. But if you're going something more long-term and you want to just try it out, I would say start smaller at 100 pages and get your feet wet. Go through the self-publishing process. But I would say if you're going to work with a ghostwriter, if you don't choose me, I'll go with a ghostwriter that has self-published their book. Like I've self-published my book, because that gives you so much more experience on the things you can trip over when you're self-publishing than a ghostwriter who hasn't published their own book. So that's another important thing to know when you're hiring a ghostwriter.
So one of the things we want to clear up also, when you're talking about publishing your own book, you're talking about a physical book with pages, not just an ebook that you're going to put out on Amazon, correct?
Well, even publishing an ebook, even if you didn't publish a physical book, is still considered publishing a book. But I always think of, because I'm old school, like in the book realm, like it's funny because I love tech and I love doing lots of things on tech, like my calendar, I sync everything together. But when it comes to books, I love the paper books, and I like to like physically highlight it. And a lot of my creator friends, we have the same feeling. It's like, we don't want books from other people that have their highlighting in it, because it's like, no, that was the wrong thing to highlight. That's not it. So we like to get the fresh new books. We spend the extra money on the new books so we can put our own highlighting in there. But yeah, I love the physical books. But even if you just publish an ebook and an audiobook, you are still considered a published author. You don't have to publish a physical print book to be considered a published author.
Cool. So if I did want to go with the physical book printing, what is that process? I mean, we're going to go through the rough draft. We're going to go through everything. We go through the editing. Now I have my full content. I want to go to print. I want to mail my book out, to my old friend who thought I was never going to do anything. He's just like, here's my book that you don't have. It's a Bronx thing, So.
And then say, told you so when you sign it. Told you so, Oscar Capel.
Loser, and then send that over. So I want to send that book. I'm going to send it to Phil. And I had muffins.
How did I know you were going to pick on me, Oscar? How did I know you're going to pick on me? You see?
That's what older brothers do. See? They pick on the little kids.
That's just not right. That's really, very very, very interesting how much goes into this, right?
We have to
How should
answer
people
Oscar's
choose
question.
their titles?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So to answer Oscar's question, so for doing an ebook, for instance, versus a print book, it's literally all of the initial stuff and writing it and editing is the same. It's just when you get to formatting, your formatter needs to make two different formats. One is a format in ebook and one is a format in print book. And one of the really important things you want to know about publishing on Amazon, because Amazon is going to sell 80% of your books, is that you don't want to use the Amazon ISBN, because the Amazon ISBN means that Amazon owns the where you can publish your book, which is only on their platform. So if you use the Amazon ISBN, you can't buy books, your own book from them and sell it like, you know, when you're doing your speaking gigs, or sell it like when you're at a booth or you're promoting yourself. So if you, I always recommend to all of my clients, and I do this myself, I go on a website, it's called myidentifiers.com, and I buy a pack of 10 ISBNs, because you need one for your ebook, one for your print book, one for your audiobook. So you need one for each version of your book. And it's like $200, and then you own it. So then once you own your ISBN, you can buy 1,000 copies of your book, and then you can give it to friends. You can do whatever you want with it, that because you don't have that Amazon ISBN attachment to it. And a lot of people say, oh, Amazon ISBN, it's free. It's like, yes, it's free, but you're paying for it because you can't use your own book however you want.
As we say in the Bronx, ain't nothing free.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta pay for
There's
it one
always
way or
a
the
cost. Even if it's your information, you're still paying for it.
What is ISBN?
Yeah,
what is the
free
ISBN
free
mean?
is a
Somebody's
relative
paying
term.
for free.
Someone's always paying for free.
ISBN, what does that stand for?
So it stands for International. Oh my gosh, you got me online. Okay, I will preface this with I haven't had caffeine this morning. International Standards for Books and something. Oh my gosh, I'm completely blanking this morning. But anyway, it's basically the way you identify your specific book title and version of your book in the United States book system.
Got it. It's not important.
And it's for US only.
Yeah. And basically I was going for, what is it? What is that? Why is that important to have it? It's kind of like a copyright. You own it with that number.
Right. So you can type that ISBN number into any book search engine, or you can even type it into Google and find and come up with your book.
And it's the old Dewey Decimal System for finding your book.
Exactly. Yep. And it's been around, oh my God, for over 100 years now. I don't know exactly how long it's been around, but it's been around for a long time, when they figured out they needed to start putting numbers on books because more people were writing them.
I'm going to Google ISBN and see what it says. There we go. The International Standard Book Number.
There you go.
That's what it means.
I got the international part right.
That's the only part I knew. I'm like, I know it's an international what. So now we know.
I knew the important part is you don't want the free one.
Here's our takeaways. Write yourself a book.
Yes.
So
and that's what happens on Focus on You, folks.
We're able to look up stuff live as we go.
My last question for you. Yeah, my last question for you is, what are some of the things that you think people should have in mind before they decide to write a book?
Oh, that is a great question. I love that. So one of the things, I know you had started asking me about title before. And one of the things is people get really hooked on, oh, I have to have my title in the very beginning. You don't have to have your title literally until you're ready to go make your book cover, but you do need to have your idea and know. So one of the things that you need to be prepared for when you're writing a book is you want to get into a good writing practice ahead of time. So like if you have a million things on your plate, you're going to need to decide what you're going to put aside to write your book. So that's number one. Number 2 is that you want to have some type of consistent writing practice, and you want to be writing in an area where you're not distracted by other people. So maybe you go to a library, or maybe you go to a cabin in the Ozarks for a week, or whatever it is that you do. So for me, it's when I travel, especially when I'm cruising and I have a day at sea. It is so easy for me to write at a day at sea. I literally just like grab a table next to the pool, sit down with my computer, and like bang out a few chapters in a day, because I can write really fast. And cruises are really easy for me to write on for 2 reasons. One is because I have like nothing to do that day at sea. Like literally all I have to do is eat and write my book, and I don't even have to make the food, because all I have to do is go up to the buffet and feed myself. And I can even bring it down and eat while I write. So it's super convenient, and I don't have any distractions like houses, kids, pets, anything. So find a way that you can write undistracted. And if that's getting out of your house, do it. And then, work on it a little bit every day, and get into that habit of writing consistently. And don't worry about, when you're writing your rough draft, don't worry about messing up. Just literally brain dump all of your information and then go back and organize it later. Because if you're too worried about what you're writing, you're never going to finish your book, because you're going to be so worried about it being right on the rough draft. The rough draft is your sloppy copy. And if it's sloppy, it's perfect. So don't worry about perfection. Like perfection isn't even like a realistic thing to think about. Your first book is not going to be your best book. And that's okay. Because if you decide to write a second book, then you can be like, oh, look how bad my first book was. The second one is so much better. So keep that in mind when you're writing your book. I mean, my first book I wrote 3 years ago, and my next book, the second edition that's coming out, The Guide to Traveling Gluten-Free, is so much better than my first book. Not that my first book was bad, but I'm so much of a better writer because I write between 2,000 and 8,000 words a day. So my writing is better. Like I know more of what my avatar wants. And so I'm putting all of that into my second book. But my first book, I'm like, I know I just need to put this out. I wrote it. I did a sort of beta group. I didn't do a great job on my beta group. And the other thing was I had really bad timing because I launched my travel book right as COVID hit, which of course I did not know that was going to happen. So my second edition, I'm going to put much more effort into marketing, because my first edition, I just kind of threw the marketing aside because nobody was traveling. So there's some things to keep in mind. And the other thing you want to know too is you'll want to ideally start marketing your book 3 months ahead, because you want to get people into like knowing what you're writing, knowing what you're doing, and when it's coming out. So that's kind of like the basics of knowing what you need to know before you write your book, and that it's going to take time. Some people are going to do it faster than you, and that's okay. If you want to speed up the process, I would definitely recommend hiring a ghostwriter. And whoever you hire for your ghostwriter, make sure you get along with them really, really well, because you're going to be seeing more of them than your partner in the next few months.
It's funny when you say find a nice quiet place to write. I don't know if you're familiar with Jordan Belfort, who wrote The Wolf of Wall Street. I
know that book. Yeah.
And turned into a movie. And he wrote it when he was in jail. his
And that's really hard because you have no access to computers. You literally I watched a documentary of a woman who wrote her book in jail, and she literally wrote it all out on legal pads and mailed it to one of her friends or her family members.
Yeah, it's a great story. He was actually in the cell with Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong, and telling Tommy all the stories of what happened in his life. And Tommy Chong's like, man, you got to write a book about this. And he's like, no, I got 2 years. I got nothing to do. I might as well write a book. So not recommended to spend your time in jail writing a book. I like right? It was better, but when life gives you lemons.
But somewhere you can get away where you don't have distractions. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend going to jail. But if you have lock your office door.
Jail cruise. I don't know. I'll have to think that over.
Okay. Let it get back to me when you've made your decision, Oscar.
Cruise. Okay. I thought it over. I'll probably do something on the cruise and end up in jail anyway. So I got 2 times.
Well, Lynn,
I always tell my kids, as long as you don't get caught.
Lynn, it is always fun having you on. And just want to say thank you again for joining us. We're going to take a short little break, a computer break, as far as our commercial, and then we'll be back. And you can give the folks what they need to do to reach out and contact you. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. We're cutting in and out a little bit, but I think I got the gist. And thank you for having me on today. This has been a blast.
Yeah.
It's always fun talking to you guys.
Absolutely. So just hold on. You're gonna come back in.
Cancer. 16 rounds of chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, feeling alone, feeling isolated. Those are the things that I felt while I was going through cancer. Those are the things that someone is feeling today. One Tough Cookie is here to help.
What superhero do you?
We're up to the super.
What superhero do you relate to most? I'm so curious. Why? Each of us has our own innate nuclear power. It's God-given. And yet we're all out here wondering, searching, forgetting, and suppressing. I know I was. It's okay. No judgments here. But I am going to get real. As a life and career coach, it's kind of my job. And you chose the show, so no one is forcing you. But the force is real. And the question I really want to ask is, what's your superpower? I'm Sharon Davenport. I've been called a real-life Wonder Woman. This show is designed to activate you alongside other superheroes. It's time that you arise, put your cape on, and fly.
Are we back? Phil, you got the controls.
I've got you guys. Phil
Well,
is frozen.
Yeah, Phil keeps. Yeah, he's all the way out in Jersey, so you know how bad it is over there.
It's probably these Jersey drivers.
So while he does that, let people know where they can get in touch with you and what offers you have, like that free book. And
what superhero do you relate to most? I'm so curious. Why? Each of us has our own innate nuclear power. It's God-given. And yet we're all out here wondering, searching, forgetting, and suppressing.
So
I know I was. It's okay. No judgments here.
Okay.
But I am going to get real.
I'm not sure what was happening there.
The damn sunspots. They're screwing up everything.
It was her superpower.
The video and it kept going. I was like, what?
I think Phil's got ghosts.
Welcome to Gremlins on Wednesday.
I'm like, okay. All right, so we are back officially.
Sort of.
You know, our guest is an amazing ghostwriter and just amazing person altogether. So, Lynn, tell us how they tell the folks how they can reach out to you and keep in touch with you.
Yeah. So if you want to find out more about me, you can check out my newly rebranded podcast called Your Writing Coach. It can be found on Apple Podcasts and all your favorite podcast players. You can also go to, if you want to find out how to work with me, you can go to my website, which is www.writeforyou.me, and you can see my list of services. And you can also click that link for a discovery call to get together for a short half-hour visit to find out if we are a good fit to work together. And I can also give you some recommendations on your content and where you want to go. So if you want to DIY it or you want to work together with me, just grab that discovery call so we can talk some more.
Excelente. Well, Oscar, we've come to the end of a wonderful
Another glitch-free show.
program. Thank you, Lynn, for being our guest. You're amazing, as
Thank
always.
you for having me.
And thank you, Oscar, for being who you are.
Not in jail.
We'll see you guys again next week.